Hey, what is up, guys? So, in this video, we'll be learning about variables. So, in the last video, you learned how to add two numbers and then like display the result on the screen. So, in this video, we'll learn about variables. So, firstly, we need to know what are variables. As of now, you can just imagine variables as boxes. So, these boxes may contain different items, different data types. So, and then instead of using those data types or those items, what you can do is that you can directly use the variable by just calling it with its name. So let's see how we define a variable. So the way we define a variable is first giving it a name. So it could be any name. So let's say number one, and then the way we give it any value or any item is by giving this equal sign, and then now whatever we write on the right hand side, it's going to be the item that's going to be stored on number one. So let's say we want to store a number, so we just type the number, so saying 87. And then if you want to print it out on the screen, we just write print, and then instead of using 87, we can just write number one. So and then when we run it, it's going to say number one, that is 87. Okay, now if you want to print any string, so in last class I showed you how to define strings or text is by using quotes, and then you just write any string. Let's say hey there, and then even exclamation sign, and then instead of typing this hey there on the print, you can just use the name of the variable, that is number one, and then when you run it, it's going to say hey there. Okay, it's going to say hey there. Okay, now let's do a simple program where we add two numbers using variables. So first, let's go ahead and define our variables. So let's say the first one is num1, and let's say it has a number 97. And then let's say there's this num2 with a value 87. And then now we want to add it. So now instead of writing 97 plus 87, what we can do is num1, then plus, we can just write num2, and then what's going to give us is the sum of 97 and 87, so that is 184. Now let's do a little bigger program. So let's say I have here few variables. These are the variables, and then now this print statement. So what I did in the print statement is that I concatenated some strings with variables. So these are the variables, and we just can't use variables with string, so it's gonna pop an error. So the way we mix strings and variables together is by using this alphabet F, and then starting our string inside the quotes, and then the place where we want to insert our variable is just we use these braces, and then inside the braces we just name the variable. So let's say we want to add this yellow inside here, so my yellow name is this, my name, which is Hank, so something like this. So the sentence doesn't make any sense, but what I'm trying to say is the place where you want to insert the variable, you can just use braces and then just insert the name of the variable, but make sure you have this f string used. Okay, so now when we run it, it's gonna say my yellow name is Hank, my age is 20, my yellow eyes yellow are awesome, my yellow hobby is playing video games. Now most people may say, okay, so why not just name it? So why not just type here yellow and then just type out the strings and the numbers? Why use variables? So let's say you have a long piece of code, and then let's say there's this certain word which is repeated kind of like 20-30 times, and then you all of a sudden then you need to change it. So what you need to do is you need to just go through manually each and every line of code and then just search for that and then tweak it. But if you would have used variables, what you can do is you can just tweak in one place, and then instead of using that word on those lines, you can just switch with a variable. So whenever you need to change, you just change the value of the variable, and then automatically the code gets shifted. So let's say I have here this yellow, and this yellow is used like 4 times, and then now let's say I don't want yellow. So instead of just changing the values, what I can do is I can change the value over here. Let's say mangoes, and then just run it. It's gonna say my mangoes name is Hank, my age is 20, my mangoes are awesome, and my mangoes hobby is playing video games. So I hope you guys learned from this, and yeah, if you guys like the video, please give a like, and yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching.